It's Friday, and that means it's time for Science! Sci Friday on SkyWatchTV. I'm Derek Gilbert in studio with the smartest person I know, my wife and best friend, Sharon K. Gilbert.
I don't know. I think we have Dr. Hofve. He's going to show me up big time.
And yes, as part of our ongoing series on genetic Armageddon, how we humans are taking the creation that the Lord gave us and transforming it through science, and not in good ways. Dr. Hofve joins us to talk about how we are treating our pets, and a recent study that came out, and this is where the science comes in. We're being told by new research that corn, presumably genetically modified, is actually good for our dogs.
Well, that's right. That's what they say. And the pet food companies, of course, really love this research because otherwise dogs would be classified as carnivores, meat eaters. So meat protein is the most expensive ingredient in a pet food, so the less of it they use, the more profit they make. So they have a vested interest in knowing or proving that their food is really the ideal diet for dogs. So this research was very interesting. They took a whole bunch of dogs and a whole bunch of wolves. Now these wolves were mostly captive wolves in zoos because you don't really take blood from a wild wolf
Not
without
easily.
a fight.
Yeah.
So
you're likely to give as much as you get.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And then, that messes up the DNA. So who knows what's in it? But the study found that dogs have more copies of a gene called amylase. It's a digestive enzyme than wolves do. Wolves have 2 copies of it, so they can digest and get some value out of plant materials. But dogs have between 4 and 30 copies. And so they can digest starch better than wolves. Now, wolves started hanging around with people like tens of thousands of years ago. And dogs have been selectively bred over the generations. And even for the last few hundred years, dogs ate basically what the people ate. And as meat became reserved for the wealthy and the peasants were eating a lot of bread and carb sources because they're cheap and plentiful, well, dogs were eating the same thing as people did. So it behooved them to learn to get better value out of that food. So dogs can make more amylase, theoretically, than wolves. But we have a science called epigenetics. And that means that we aren't really controlled by our genes. We're controlled by the environment that gives signals to the proteins on the genes to either read that gene or not read the gene. So just because dogs have a lot of copies of that gene doesn't mean that they'll be utilized ever in the dog's life. If he's eating a meat-based diet, he may never need more than 2 copies of that gene. But a dog who's living on corn-based kibble, that dog would need to upregulate because the environment, which is what he's eating, is telling his cells, hey, we've got this plentiful substrate. We've got this stuff that we could use if you just shove us a few more copies of that gene.
Let's make energy out of this.
Right. And we can adjust our biology based on the signals we're getting from the environment. Dr. Bruce Lipton has done some wonderful work in this area, really interesting stuff. But the environment is what controls the genes. So if the dog is fed a high starch diet, yeah, he'll survive on it.
So the original research, the conclusions drawn by the scientists involved in it, did they believe that the extra copies meant that dogs preferred or were better off than wolves when it comes to corn? Or was it just a conclusion drawn by someone else?
Well, their conclusion was they're capable of thriving on a starchier diet than what wolves would do well on. Now, of course, the big pet food companies said, great.
That's why we put it in there.
Yeah, we just proved it. We've been doing it for 50 years, but now we have the science to back it up. Well, we can adjust to a lot of things. Dogs are very nutritionally flexible. They can extract nutrition and use it from a variety of sources. Great for them, you know. That's terrific. What are they going to thrive on? What are they going to do best on? Is their ancestral diet. Because all dogs are 100% descended from wolves. And wolves have not changed very much. And if dogs have been domesticated for umpteen thousand years, that's a drop in the bucket in time, and your genes don't change that much. You know, in a few hundred years, they're not going to change very much. The looks can be changed because that's easy to selectively breed, but they're the insides, the guts. Nobody's breeding changes for that. So, you know, it's a little bit sketchy, this research that says, you know, well, dogs can thrive on a grain-based diet. Well, they can survive on it. But what's the biggest problem, do you suppose, in what's the most common disease veterinarians see right now? Obesity. More than half of our dogs and cats are obese.
And they're usually put on a weight-controlled dog food of some kind. Right,
which is even more carbs. Now, the research is becoming fairly clear that it's the carbs that are causing this weight gain, particularly in carnivorous animals that are not supposed to eat a lot of carbs, and especially in cats.
Well, and we're finding that in humans too, that if we reduce our carb intake, we'll often lose weight and feel better.
Right. And cats in particular are a lot like us, unfortunately for them, because a high carb diet will lead to diabetes. And cats get type 2 diabetes. Dogs get type 1 diabetes, which is a primary defect in the insulin metabolism. But cats get type 2 diabetes, which is what most people get, that are too heavy, and they eat too much carbs that can be broken down immediately into sugar. Sugar sends the pancreas through the roof. You know, so we're doing a lot of damage by forcing these animals to eat a non-native type of diet. There actually was a study done that gave cats, you know, they could choose from a number of different bowls of food, and the one that they chose was the one that was most similar to their prey animals. So if you grind up a mouse, you find about 50-55% protein, 30-40% fat, very little carb, less than 10% carb. Cats can digest and absorb carbs, but they turn it to fat very quickly. So they chose the food that was about 55% protein, 40% fat, and a little bit of carb. That's what they prefer. Just natively, they know how to eat. They'll eat what we give them. They don't have a lot of choices.
Yeah, they're hungry. They'll eat something.
Yeah. And pet food companies know how to make stuff that's completely unnatural taste really, really, really good.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a whole science of palatability. You know, I think sometimes we'd be better off feeding a food that they don't like quite as much so they don't overeat it. And particularly in cats, it's true for dogs too. A low-carb, high-protein, high-moisture diet is more effective for weight loss in dogs, but it's certainly abundantly proven that that's way better for cats.
And just one more question on the study, because just to make clear for folks like me who haven't had a training in genetics and molecular biology, the epigenetics, the fact that the dogs are expressing these more copies of this particular gene that allows them to digest the carbs, the grain-based diet, is not because they're developed that way, they've evolved that way, they were bred that way. It's mainly because our genes, epigenetics teaches us that our genes can change because of our environment, and because they've been fed these grain-based diets by us believing what we're told about our pet foods, that the dogs have had to adapt of necessity.
Yeah.
Whereas if they've been eating...
Because otherwise they're going to starve.
Yeah. If they've been eating in the wild like the wolves, they may, their genetic structure might reflect that.
Right. The wolves don't need carb digesting enzymes.
Right.
They just don't need them.
So
They
inadvertently, we're actually changing the genetic composition, makeup of our pets.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a really true way, yeah.
And we've had a few thousand years to do it, and we've done a bang-up job.
Yeah.
Not very good stewards, are we?
No.
Not so much.
And that's why we're talking about this as part of our special series on Genetic Armageddon, how we are transforming the world around us, not just our pets, but also what it means to be human. This coincides with the release of the documentary film Inhuman, the next and final phase of man is here, and especially the topic of our conversation today, Dead Pets Don't Lie, the new book by Joe Artis and Donna Howell. Dr. Jean Hofve, where do people find out more about your work and maybe get some guidance on how we should be properly feeding our dogs and cats?
Sure. Well, I have a couple of books published. One is Paleo Dog, and the other is the Complete Guide to Holistic Cat Care, and those can be ordered online. My website is www.littlebigcat.com. Remember that movie, Little Big Man?
Yes.
With Dustin
Snake
Hoffman?
Eye.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
love that movie.
Yes. So littlebigcat.com. There's a extensive hundreds of articles for free on the website. A lot of articles on nutrition. I would recommend, especially 10 reasons why dry food is bad for dogs and cats. That's a fun article, and it illustrates a lot of the things we've been talking about. I have some ebooks online as well. There's tons of resources out there. If you're willing to look for them, it's easy to find.
Dr. Hofve is one of the experts consulted for research for the book Dead Pets Don't Lie. And again, our series continues as we look to how we should take care of not just what God has entrusted to us, but how we should take care of ourselves as we look to the future. We thank you for joining us today. For Sharon Gilbert, I'm Derek Gilbert. This is SkyWatch TV.
Coming exclusively from SkyWatch TV for a very limited time starting November 17th, 2015. When you purchase the new documentary film Inhuman and the companion book Dead Pets Don't Lie from SkyWatch TV, you'll receive the largest giveaway in SkyWatch TV history. An unprecedented $300 in free books, audio sets, and DVDs to add to your library or to give away as gifts during this holiday season. Included in this limited time giveaway are never before offered free audio sets. Over 30 hours of the most sought after interviews in history with global experts combined on a special 2-disc volume set discussing the unfolding genetic Armageddon now underway and what you need to know to survive the future. Featuring Something Transhumanism This Way Comes, The Coming Replacement Humans, The Days of Noah, The Coming Zombie Apocalypse, Conspiracy Theory, Psychotronic Warfare. Also, for a very limited time, in addition to the never-before-offered free best-selling audio sets, if you order before this special offer expires, you'll also receive the multi-part SkyWatch TV special investigative report on Inhuman the documentary and Dead Pets Don't Lie, the award-winning book Forbidden Gates, Pandemonium's Engine, the best-selling DVD by dog behavior expert Joe Artis, The Natural Dog Training Method. The breakthrough book for pet enthusiasts everywhere, Do Our Pets Go to Heaven? 2 additional mystery books with a $40 value. And if you're one of the first 3,000 customers to place your order during this limited time offer, you will also receive, absolutely free, the groundbreaking WorldNet daily film The Last Pope featuring Tom Horn. Place your order beginning November 17th, 2015. Altogether, the never-before-offered free 6 full audio series on a 2-disc volume set plus the 5 free books and 2 additional DVDs total an astounding $300 giveaway to add to your library or to give away as gifts during this holiday season. So it's urgent that beginning November 17th, 2015, you order the new documentary film Inhuman and the companion book Dead Pets Don't Lie for only $39.95 to also receive the largest giveaway in SkyWatch TV history. But please understand this offer will end without notification and is on a first-come, first-served basis starting November 17th. So be sure to visit SkyWatchTV.com to follow the countdown to the greatest giveaway in SkyWatch TV history. Order the new documentary film Inhuman and the companion book Dead Pets Don't Lie for only $39.95 to also receive the largest giveaway in SkyWatch TV history.